The hero wakes up, not understanding what is before him. The girl calls him by name, and Ed opens his eyes. The vision disappears. She keeps asking if he is all right. The boy feels as if his legs are numb. Aloud, he apologizes to Mina, says that everything is fine, and suggests hurrying to work earlier than the others. Mina also rushes into a run and, smiling, agrees with him. The girl hangs the laundry and cheerfully hums a song about how she washes, cleans, and dries everything. She says with a smile that today is a wonderful day because they have work. Mina continues calling Ed, but he does not hear her. He recalls what happened, and the hero does not understand what exactly it was and what he saw when he fell. That was his past life. Mina suddenly shouts right into his ear, only then does he hear her. She asks what happened, jokes that maybe he deserves a slap. The boy tries to dissuade her, but the girl with a joyful smile promises to heal him, and Ed is genuinely surprised. She laughs but shouts the word in pain. The hero replies that he understands and will not do it again. The heroes receive payment for their work. Mina counts out 3 coins. The woman smiles and says that it is even more than necessary, and the girl sincerely thanks her. The heroes leave, and meanwhile the women begin to discuss them. One dislikes that they will have to let those children in again. Another agrees, but says that Mina works a lot. Ed stands silently, listening as the first woman says that they are children from the slums, that dark-haired boy and the girl. Mina distracts him and quickly calls him to go with her. The boy agrees and stubbornly tries to convince himself that he does not care. But today there is no need to worry about food. They hand the man a pouch with 3 coins and ask, as always, to also bring beans. Mina is delighted today. She finally managed to buy food, and now she will not give it to anyone. Ed believes they are doing everything possible to survive. 8 years ago the city fell, and refugees settled behind the walls of Trai. This place is called El Urda by the locals, and many here still dream of returning to the city and living happily again. It seems that this is their goal. In 6 years of living, Ed has never seen anything beyond this place. The heroes enter the Melon Hospital. Mina exclaims joyfully, "We are already home." Inside, one woman apologizes that she has no money right now, and another replies that it is not a problem, she will pay when she can. Everything is fine now. She greets Mina and Ed with a smile. It turns out she is Mina's mother. The girl hugs her happily and says that today they washed clothes, and the woman warmly praises them. Mina says that for this work they were given 3 copper coins, and they bought beans, and the mother says that they are fresh, so they will cook them for dinner. She turns to Ed and sincerely praises him. The woman smiles and promises that she will prepare dinner very soon. The boy agrees and says that this is his home, where he, Mina, and his parents live together. At the table, the heroes, excited and smiling, sincerely thank Monsieur Le Fallier for his blessing. The mother says that father will be late, so they will start dinner without him, and Mina wishes everyone a good meal. Ed tries it and immediately grimaces in horror. The mother asks what happened. Is the beans really that bad? The boy denies it. The girl also tries and says that everything is as usual. It tastes normal. The hero agrees. The beans are cooked as always. But now he has already tasted it, the taste of another world. Heroes fall asleep, and Ed realizes with horror, life here is truly terrible. Mina approaches him closer in her sleep and gently utters his name, and the boy responds by hugging her. The girl quietly whispers that Ed is very warm, and the boy thinks that he somehow needs to get out of this situation. Mina says it's a pity there is no work at all today. Ed agrees with her and hopes that his mother will be able to earn money today. They love people too much to refuse them. The girls suddenly start eating air. She is still crunching with her teeth, and the hero asks what she is doing. Mina points to a cloud and explains that she is eating it. She says the cloud is so big that you can eat a lot of it. Sad Ed quietly calls her by name. Suddenly the girl's stomach starts to rumble. She laughs awkwardly. The hero realizes it is impossible to live like this any longer. He suddenly grabs her hand and pulls her along. She does not understand where he is leading her. They step into a field. Mina stands confused. She does not understand what happened and what he is doing. The boy suggests she also pick wildflowers. The girl asks him again. He explains that he is looking for edible grass. The girl is surprised, and Ed adds, flowers can also be eaten. Their neighbor once ate too many because he knew they were edible. So if you know exactly which flowers can be eaten. The man does not even manage to finish the sentence, and at that very moment, a beetle attacks Mina. In the hero's head, only thoughts about food. Now Ed suddenly remembered his past life. Although it was difficult, he took a lot of useful things from it. The hero begins to breathe heavily. Mina asks, what happened? The hero ponders, could this be some kind of evaluative magic? Information windows about plants appear before his eyes. In the window, everything his gaze falls upon. He extends this to Mina, but she stands confused and does not understand what the hero wants from her. Ed quietly guesses that she sees nothing, while the hero himself looks at the window with an evaluative gaze and convinces himself that this is his ability and there is nothing strange about it. They only need to try Raven Eye, says the man, cheerfully waving a bunch of grass and adding that from now on they will always gather this grass. Mina doubts, but he assures her, this grass is edible. The girl asks if they really intend to eat it, because she fears they will get a stomach ache. Ed lights a fire and says that she does not have to eat, he will try it first himself, and she will see that everything is fine. If he is not mistaken, young shoots can be eaten whole. The hero grinds rock salt and realizes that nothing complicated can be prepared here. The beans hide many harmful substances, so they need to be well roasted. Mina still hesitates, but the appetizing smell makes her smile. The hero says everything is ready. Suddenly, a window appears above the food with the inscription, "The dish is prepared correctly." The boy tries the dish. Mina worries and asks what the taste is like. Ed says it is not so bad, but it would be tastier with spices tastes like peas. The girl thought for a moment, then suddenly exclaimed that she also wants to eat, and the boy was so startled by this. Mina tries, grimaces, and says, bitter. She notices the bitter taste, but she likes it, and she rushes to eat quickly. Ed asks her to eat more slowly. There is very little food left. Then Mina hopefully asks if there is anything left, and the hero gently reminds her. First, they need to make sure everything is safe, and asks her not to overeat so she does not feel bad. At this moment, the mother turns around and sincerely apologizes to the children. After all, dinner is already today. She is so surprised that she doesn't even manage to finish speaking. The hero says that Mina ate and dozed off, and he cannot understand why he remembers his past life and where this strange magic came from. This power gives them a chance for a better life, and Ed promises to make Mina happy. Now he feels more confident, and the mother says that this is good. Ed remembers how his mother asked him for forgiveness for having to leave. She apologized that she could not stay with him. The hero then stood confused, not understanding at all what was happening, and the woman continued, even if people say something bad about his dark hair, he should not. She did not manage to finish. The mother gave him one thing and said that if difficulties arise, it could be sold. Then Mina's father asked Tamaria if she really wanted to leave, and Tamaria confirmed her desire. The woman had to take care of her son, so she left. In a dream, the hero gently remembers his mother and wakes up because Mina accidentally hits him in the face with her foot. The man announced the end of the workday, drove away everyone who was still wandering around, and sent them back to the wilderness, saying that even if they stayed here, nothing would come of it. He pushes the main hero and shouts that there is definitely no place here for black-haired people, and Ed rubs his head and sadly notes that it was bad. Suddenly a boy appears, starts boasting that he got a job, asks if the main hero is jealous, and at that moment notices Harris. He nods. There really is nothing to find here, so he calls Mina to go quickly. She agrees and runs away with him. Harris asks who they are, and his companion notes that these heroes are very stubborn. Mina shines with joy. They will start gathering soon. She finds a crow's eye. The boy gladly praises her and says that it is a bean. He thinks that this way they will gather a lot of food and marvels at his wonderful abilities, while Mina continues to gather grass. Ed decides to try. Loudly shouts, evaluation, and instantly many windows appear before him. He is amazed he manages to assess everything he sees, but this causes his head to start hurting. The boy believes he is using magic, but the more he uses it, the weaker he becomes. Mina approaches him and asks what happened. Suddenly, a window with her name and the inscription "Elf" appears above her head. Ed calmly says that nothing happened, and there is no need to worry about food. This is not magic. The girl agrees with him, and he explains that a lot of poisonous plants grow here mixed with edible ones, so people from the wilderness do not touch them. Still, he understands. The situation is not that bad. The evaluation window clearly shows what can be eaten. The hero shows dandelions and smiles. They can be eaten. Mina, with eyes glowing with surprise, asks if it is true, and then enthusiastically adds that Ed is simply incredible. He knows everything in the world. The boy laughs and jokes that it really is so. The girl asks if this is magic. The hero explains that it is not difficult at all, just evaluation magic, and all thanks to her, Mina thinks. She loudly shouts that Ed is a cool hero who possesses magic. Ed wonders if she really understands him, asks her not to tell anyone, because he himself does not fully realize what kind of power it is, and Mina loudly replies that she understands everything. The hero suggests gathering a few more edible flowers, and the girl gladly agrees. While Mina swings in the grass, Ed gathers grass and thinks that there is so much useful stuff here. In the thickets, there's almost nothing to find except for rock salt, to at least slightly season the food. The hero decides to keep searching, and suddenly a girl approaches him, wanting to show him something of a strange shape. She finds it interesting. The boy understands what it is about. They return home and excitedly say that today they managed to outpace their hungry stomach, which is already impatiently waiting for tasty food. Ed notices there is no knife in the house at all, so he takes his mother's item. He starts mowing the grass, and Mina, shining with admiration, says that he is cool. The hero explains that it is important to boil and remove the lye to cut the garlic and make the sauce. He asks Mina to help. She gladly agrees, and Ed advises taking more beans and asks her to sort other herbs. Father returns home and freezes in amazement. Is today a holiday? Mina sincerely greets him with a smile, and the mother only smiles and says she is also surprised because all this was prepared by the children. They encourage, start eating while the dish is still steaming. Then they thank La Folie for the blessing and wish each other bon appetit. Mina shines with delight. It tastes extraordinarily good to her. She asks what flavor it is. Dad thinks it is probably just wildflowers. Mom notices that they are completely odorless, and on the package it is written in large letters, the best sauce garlic. For the second course, crowsy beans, and the girl notes, these beans are not like the usual ones at all. The hero explains that he added peas and dandelion roots to the dish, so the food turned out crispy and very tasty. The mother continues to marvel at how Ed manages to cook such delicious dishes using only rock salt and flowers. He extends a cup to her and asks, try what's inside. It is thanks to this that everything became possible. Everyone tries it, and at that very moment, their faces bloom with pleasure. The third dish is Ella's mushroom soup, and the parents sincerely praise its taste. Ed explains that he cooked the mushrooms in bean broth, and Mina proudly emphasizes that she found them herself. Dad realized that tasty dishes can be made from wildflowers. Mom supports him. They used to have completely different food, and the girl happily says that she is tasting such delicious food for the first time and wants to eat more. At that moment, she notices how her mother reacts. The woman apologizes, saying she cannot do it. Ed intervenes here and takes the blame upon himself, quietly confessing that it is his fault. He reassures Mina, saying everything is fine. Now they can enjoy delicious food every day. He asks Guido and Melon if they agree. They gladly agree, and Mina also supports this idea. She exclaims that Ed is their savior, so she agrees to everything without hesitation. The hero looks at this and smiles. The girl wishes everyone bon appetit, immediately starts eating and enthusiastically says how tasty everything is. Guido beams with joy that one can eat enough in the morning. Milne thanks Ed, and he smiles and says there is no need to thank him. The father stops. The boy looks so much like Tamarius, and the mother raised Ed well. He wants to say something about his father, but Mina suddenly announces that she is already finished. She is already full and does not want to eat more, says that earlier Dad brought little food, so she asks him to try harder. Guido laughs and adds that it will not be easy, and laughter bursts around. The father is already leaving. He addresses Ed and Mina and says that gathering berries or mushrooms is fine, but asks not to go far into the forest because it is dangerous there. The girl asks Dad to try even harder at work. The hero tries to remind Guido about their conversation, but the man sharply interrupts and shows that he does not understand at all what is being talked about. Ed runs through the words about his father in his head, but aloud says that he did not mean anything like that. Mina gathers grass and quietly hums to herself. The boy stopped in thought. He still has not asked about his parents. Maybe he should ask about them, but his thoughts were interrupted by the girl. She happily shows a bunch of wildflowers, so today we will eat beans again, and she wonders if Ed will feel better if they eat well. The hero hides how he really feels and asks honestly if he really looks bad. Mina feels that she probably made a mistake. Ed responds to her in kind. He is convinced that he should not worry about his parents, although he himself does not even know where they are. After all, now family for him is Mina and others. He points to the flowers and adds that half of them cannot be eaten, and Mina is very surprised by this. Melon is currently treating the sick, and a woman comes to him complaining that the cough has returned again and does not go away, so Mina's mother calls her closer and uses healing magic. She asks if the patient feels better, and the woman says with relief that she does. Then Mina and Ed enter the room. The girl happily says that they are already home. Melon asks the woman to come again if she gets tired, and sincerely thanks her for the help. Mina notices that this woman has been coming more and more often lately. The patient nods and says with regret that her throat still has not healed. The hero decides to use the magical power of careful examination. He realizes that the woman has bacterial pharyngitis. Melon says that he can ease her pain with his powers, but treating in the slums is an unworthy place for this, and it is very difficult, so the hero thoughtfully reflects on bacterial inflammation. Ed realizes that in another world, he would have been treated with ordinary medicine. He shouts that he understands everything. The boy carefully brews his unique herbal tea and enthusiastically shows it to Melm. She asks if it is tea. Millie smells a strange scent, and the hero confirms that it is herbal tea. He chose and mixed herbs that disinfect. The woman does not understand what disinfecting means, and he explains that these herbs help wounds heal, but sadly notes that no one here knows what bacteria are. The herbs are dried in the shade so they last a long time. Ed believes that over time they will help reduce symptoms. Mel says she understands and tries the tea. The woman smiles and says it is tasty and refreshing. The hero notices that many such drinks can be made. Mina exclaims that she also wants to try, but grimaces at the strange taste, and the hero thinks about how to make a drink for children. After the patient drank the decoction, her throat felt better. She thanked Melon for the help, but Melon replied that it was all right. She says that all the credit belongs to Ed, not her, and the boy, embarrassed, admits that he just wanted to help. He swears to give her as much as she wants, but she refuses. She would like to, but cannot, and Ed does not understand why she says no. The woman says that this taste is familiar to her. In her hometown, such herbs were insanely expensive, and these words greatly surprised Ed and Mina. Ed says that it was not a plan at all. Mina asks where they are going today. The hero replies that he is going to the Dordens. The girl guesses he wants to buy beans. He waved it off, saying that today they will do something else. The boy thinks that no one else collects this wild plant. He never even imagined that you could make money on tea, so he needs to check if it is true. Ed knocks on the door and calls Mr. Doridan. The man warmly welcomes the children, says he hasn't seen them for a long time and that it seems they are all right, then asks if they came for beans. That's not true, says the hero. I just wanted to find out something. The man asks with surprise why him specifically, and Ed replies, there is no longer a store that cares about children from poor neighborhoods. He pulls out a bag and asks Mr. Doridan to see how much it costs. The man asks again if it is tea and if the boy made it himself. The hero nods, confirming. Now the merchant understands everything. He gently asks them to come inside and wait a little. The boy wonders why they are being called into the house. Jordan says he needs to consult with his wife. The heroes are even more surprised. Ed sits silent with Firth. Man wants to consult, and he is scared. Mina is at first surprised that they are inside here for the first time, asks what is happening, and then falls asleep. Just then Jordan calls them while they have been checking and tasting tea all this time. The man says it is better to leave this tea in the store, and asks if the hero agrees, and the boy hesitantly agrees. Mina lays out the lawn, then asks Ed to pass the next one. The guy hesitates. If he had not come across that herb and tasted it, would this tea have been worth it at all? Then someone approaches Ed and says, I work here. Here is Mr. Doridan, was brought by Mina's father. The children are stunned that this man ended up in the slums, asks to be told more about how they make the product they plan to sell. Doridan notices that tea grows right here. Ed confirms this, and then, stunned, asks if the man really said they are going to sell it. He smiles and says he wants to sell their tea himself, so he plans to buy it regularly. The boy is even more amazed. Could these tea leaves really be that valuable? Dryden boasts that he made the label and sold this product to wealthy people for a good amount of money. He says the taste is worth it. Mina doesn't understand what he means. Guido explains that it is a healthy tea. Ed adds that it is simply a business matter. Mr. Doridan says briefly and confidently, everything depends on the quality of the product. When they gave out free samples, people formed a good impression of them. Now nothing hinders them. So the man came to talk to the hero to find out if he would agree to this proposal. Ed smiles and gladly agrees. They shake hands. The deal is made. Mina grabs them by the hands and joyfully exclaims that the deal has been made. She shakes hands with everyone. The boy asks in surprise if she even understands what she is doing, and the girl spreads her arms and sincerely replies that she has no idea at all. She shines with joy. Everyone wants tea too. At that very moment, Doridan extends a bag and asks the hero to take it, and the hero asks in surprise what it is. They explain to them that the income depends on sales over the last few days and also takes into account the commission for future orders. The family is very surprised. Mina sharply grabbed a coin and exclaimed that Mr. Doridan is cheating them. This money is definitely counterfeit, and the man stands confused and does not understand why she is reacting this way. The girl says indignantly that real money is never this color, it has always been brown. Ed tries to calm her down and explains that these are just silver coins because she had only seen copper ones before, and the widow chuckles and adds that there is even more money there than his salary. Ed and Mina came to Mr. Doridan and brought him goods for a week. The man accepted everything and said he would inspect it, gave them money and thanked them for the help. The main hero responded with thanks, and Mina was delighted with the money received. She says goodbye to the merchant, and at that very moment, someone suddenly calls out to them. It is Harris. He says he saw Ed leaving the store and asks what they are doing if they haven't been working lately. The boy thinks the hero has money and replies that he will never give it away. The boys surrounded them in a tight circle and shouted at Ed to quickly give everything back. One of the children held a sign that read, "To light a fire, 1 copper coin." Note, these boys have again resorted to their old tricks. Harris hit the hero on the cheek. Manu shouted his name and rushed forward, but the rest of the boys held him firmly. Harris said he knows. Dark hair means trouble, so it is because of Ed that poverty has come to their neighborhood. The others encourage him, ask him to do it, and notice that the hero is no longer as brave as before, and Mina breaks free and shouts that her mother told her black hair is just a myth. Harris grabs Ed by the neck and offers to prove that he is right if he is wrong, but the hero does not give in. His defiant look irritates the boy even more. He shouts that he doesn't like Ed and swings again. Mina begs him to stop. This child screams, begging everyone to stop. The hero gapes in surprise. Everyone recognizes Rainia. They ask what she is doing here, as it supposedly doesn't concern her, but the girl firmly replies that it directly affects her and warns, "You can't attack one person in a crowd if Ed doesn't defend himself. She will personally fight back with these flames." Harris quietly whispers that this is already a problem and urgently asks everyone to move as quickly as possible. Rainia anxiously asks if Ed is okay, he deserves praise. The girl hurries to help him stand up, and the hero shyly admits that he is not very strong physically. And then Mina suddenly jumps on Rainia. She thanks the girl from the heart and calls her savior. The dark-haired girl asks not to exaggerate, and at that moment, Ed uses assessment magic and notices that she is also from the slums, but was born into a family where everyone has a natural talent for magic. Rainia begs everyone to forget everything and says she was just passing by looking for work. The elf asks the girl if she is paid for this flame. She answers yes, but the earnings are small. Then the girl asks if the heroes want to buy beans, and Ed explains that they actually sell them. They show a silver coin. Rainia asks in surprise where they got such money, and the heroes try to explain it to her. And in the field, Mina and Sharani finally understood what they are doing. She did not even think about picking wildflowers. Her mother always bought groceries at the store. The hero says, the displaced people used to live in the city. The girl asks anxiously if it is not dangerous, what if there are snakes or wolves here. Ed replies that he has not seen any, although Guido advised them not to go far from the city, and at that moment, Mina calls everyone to come and see what she has found. She gladly shows that she has found a mushroom again. Rainia is amazed that the mushroom has a very strange shape. The elf says that if you bite it, inside it is soft and tasty, but Ed stops her and explains. Unfortunately, this mushroom looks very similar, but it is a fly agaric and it is poisonous. Mina is very surprised. He pulls out another mushroom and shows it. This is the one you can eat. The elf happily says that's cool. Now Rani also notices the difference, but she wonders how he recognized them at all. They look the same, the hero explains. Now the girl understands that this is the magic of evaluation. It turns out Ed has an interesting ability. The boy asks not to tell anyone about it. She agrees. Mina happily finds a new mushroom, but Ed immediately says it is also inedible, and Ronia hands over the next one, which also turns out to be poisonous. The boy shows the third mushroom and says that Mr. Doradin said these sell well. The girls chime in. If they sell them, they can eat well, so they decide to gather more and go home. Rainia notices that Mina is practically glowing with excitement. They feel like this is a real treasure hunt, and even the elf agrees. She's also searching for treasures together with her friends. Here it is a real treasure that will bring us generous profit. Ed is the sage of their team who seems to know everything. Rainia wields fire magic, and Mina is on her own. She cannot understand what her power is, and her comrades reassure her by saying that everything is fine. They reported that they had gathered just enough and were organizing a real celebration tonight. Rainia reacts with surprise to this word. Mina suggests having dinner with them, and Ed says they need to go prepare everything, but one problem arose. He is confused and does not know which road is correct. Elphika is frightened. Could it be that they really do not know how to return back? Rania noticed that she got so absorbed in all this that she also became confused, and the hero tries to calm them down, saying that the way back can be found by orienting themselves by the trees and shadows. He shows the direction and says that they probably came from there. Mina listens carefully and whispers that she hears some sounds. Ed replies that he understands everything they need to go further, quickly and carefully, and asks everyone not to scatter. Suddenly, a huge monster appears on their path, a goblin. He responds with a scream just like the children. At the last moment, they dodge the goblin's strike. Ed shouted that they need to run, and the girls immediately agree. Suddenly, the goblin catches up with him. The hero realizes that it is incredibly fast and rushes after the girls. The boy firmly grabs his opponent and mockingly asks if he likes it. They roll on the ground, raising dust, and then the monster suddenly grabs Ed by the neck. Ronnie shouts that he is about to do something and releases fire magic. The goblin catches fire and starts screeching. Mina and Ed are impressed by this power, but their hearts tighten as the goblin gets up again and rushes after them. He is too persistent. The monster attacks the hero again, and he barely holds back its assault. Rania is completely exhausted, and at that moment, Mina shouts Ed's name louder and louder. She absolutely does not want to die. The elf shouts that they are not going to lose, and at that very moment, something strange happens to the boy. He feels the power suddenly grow. Now he will succeed in everything. Ed strikes the goblin with his forehead, grabs a weapon, and instantly launches an attack. This is how he deals with the monster. The hero freezes, looking at his hands and thoughtfully reflecting on this power. A caption appears nearby, blessed, and he guesses that Mina did it. The girls run up to him and ask if he is okay, and the boy sincerely thanks them for their help. Mina is confused. She did nothing, and does not understand at all what happened. Ed is at a loss for words and suggests talking about it at home. First, they need to get out of the forest. Then they heard strange sounds, and suddenly 3 goblins jumped out of the bushes, which greatly frightened the heroes. 8 years ago, monsters broke out from the demon kingdom, and people rushed to escape from this invasion. The horde swept through the northern city of the kingdom of Merlia, and Aldania found itself directly in its path, but this was only the beginning of the disaster for Aldania. Political instability reigned in Merlia. Feudal lords, frightened by the war, did not dare to send the army. Monsters swarmed everywhere. There was no help to be expected, so there was only one way out: to flee the city. They thought so, but everything turned out quite differently. To his surprise, when suddenly 3 goblins appeared at once, he realizes this is real trouble. The hero pushes the girls aside and shouts for them to run, promising to distract the monsters himself. Mina does not want to leave him, but the boy asks not to look back. The girls want to object, but he loudly says that everything is fine, and at that moment the monsters attack. Ed shouts to the girls, "Run." They worry about him, but the hero rushes into battle with the goblins. But suddenly someone jumps out of the bushes and attacks the monsters. Now, the goblins are already running away. The hero finishes by saying that children should not go to the forest alone, asks if everyone is safe. At that moment, his companion appears. Ed thanks for the help, and at the same moment, Mina and one of the heroes, seeing each other, suddenly exclaim in surprise. It turns out this man is Guido, Mina's father. The man with anxiety in his voice tells the children this is exactly why he asked them not to leave the city. They almost died, but the children do not understand this. The scream terribly frightened Mina. Guido sighs with relief. He hugs the children tightly and says that they scared him terribly, sincerely apologizes, but does not hide his joy that they are all right now. Mina apologizes, but the man calms her and says that everything is fine, and the archer adds with a slight smile that they were lucky they were also following the goblin. Rainia asked if they hunt goblins, and they explain that they monitor the monster's actions by order of the Lord for the Seekers Guild. Mina asks if this is her father's business, and the widow nods sadly, beginning to tell what happened before their birth, then asks if they have heard about the stampede incident in Aldania. Ed says that the man who managed to escape created these slums himself. The archer interrupts him and confirms it's true, such creatures can destroy an entire city. The hero explains that is why the Lord watches over them. Ed ponders this, and a quiet weight of thought appears in his eyes. The men notice that things are going better now. They decide who will go fight the monsters. And they notice one more extra person. Mina assures that Ed can help too. The men are clearly surprised by this. The hero hesitantly says that all 3 of them participated, but the adventurers still do not believe it. The archer says he understands everything and asks the children to stay behind. Mina is confused. She does not understand what is happening. Man fights monsters, and children are whispered that those are muscles they are released by monsters. They can be dangerous, and washing them off will take a long time, so it's better not to get too close. Widow explains with pain. Because of this, even after 8 years, refugees cannot return to Aldania. The city is still corroded by the poison of miasma brought by the horde. An archer asks Ed to take something and warns, better not to touch it with bare hands. The boy notices that it is a magical stone used as a source of energy, along with magical crystals and items. The hero asks if he can take it, and the man replies, "We defeated the goblins, so the trophies are ours. When we sell them, we will get a good profit. Not bad for one adventure," and Ed agrees. The men warn forest slugs will eat everything else, so they advise the little travelers to return to the city. Rania calls Ed, and the boy, embarrassed, apologizes to her, says that he called her, and because of him she ended up in danger. The girl gently replies that it's okay and she also wants to apologize, and the hero remains surprised. The girl says that she had heard before that he supposedly cannot stand up for himself, but in reality, Ed turned out to be completely different, a brave boy who is not afraid to go against monsters. She quietly apologizes and sincerely thanks him and Minnie for protecting her. As soon as the light turns on, Mina screams. Finally, they return. Ed says tiredly that today was a long day. Guido addresses the children and asks them to listen to him. He says that he does not want to put them in danger, but here arises one problem. He's sure that he will not be able to dissuade them from going to the forest for food. They are poor precisely because adults do not go there, and as long as they live behind the walls, the threat from monsters will not disappear. Every time he thinks about it, he wishes the heroes would learn to defend themselves. For example, how to notice and avoid danger when there is a knife nearby. Guido asks the swordsman to teach this to the children, also shares with him a tasty mushroom he found on the way home, and father tells Mina that it's time to learn magic. Mother will explain everything this is necessary so that if Ed and Rainia face danger, she can help them. The girl froze, stunned, and is not sure if she can manage because she still needs to learn. Rainia encourages her. They use magic too. Ed asks not to worry and assures that Mina definitely has magical talent, he is sure of it. The elf asks several times again. The hero confirms it each time, and Mina says that if Ed said so, she will definitely make every effort. Everyone heads to the trading guild. The children ask if strangers are really allowed to enter here. The man confirms yes, they can. He smiles and says that they are always looking for new adventurers, so he sincerely invites them to come in. Such an opportunity is rare. Mina gladly agrees, and Rainia notices that Ed stayed standing near the entrance. He clearly remembers what happened half an hour ago. Then Mr. Dordan told them that he could not buy magical stones from them, and Ed immediately asked why he refused. The merchant explained. The boy had his own sales channel outside the city, and the boy thought that the guild was somehow involved in this. Then the swordsman entered the room and directly asked why he didn't just say this from the very beginning. Dordan asked West to escort the children. West did not hide his surprise at such a request. The swordsman led everyone to the noisy adventurers guild. Rainia asks if magical stones can be sold here. Mina pinches her nose with her fingers. She smells some strange odor. They explain to her that it smells like alcohol. Rainia again notices that Ed is acting strangely and asks if he is worried. The boy admits that he is a little anxious. There are so many unfamiliar people around, and he recalls how people used to talk about his black hair, called him unlucky, and asked not to come close. He thoughtfully turns over in his mind what else people might say about him. The girl tries to cheer him up and says that everything will be fine because she is nearby. The boy reluctantly nods, barely agreeing. Someone approaches them and asks who they are. He is surprised. Why are there children from the slums here? The heroes are frightened. The man notices a rare detail and asks why the hero has black hair. Rainia tries to answer something, and Ed hides his head. At that moment, Mina covers them with her body. The elf showed a magical stone in his palm and said he came to sell it. The traveler froze in surprise and, not believing it, asked again if they were joking. West proudly replied that it was pure truth. The goblins were defeated by the children themselves, and the men began whispering, stunned. Could this really be true, since those children are even younger than their own? Everyone says that the heroes are simply incredibly cool. They ask how they managed it. Mina happily explains that Rainia uses magic, and Ed wields a sword, and the seekers are amazed. How can such a little girl cast spells? The children are still so small but can already do great deeds, and the men ask to touch them, and without even waiting for permission, reach out to the boy. The first man lifts Ed onto his shoulders, smiles, and asks what it is like to defeat monsters at such an age, says that he will grow up to be a true hero, and all the others agree, offering to raise their glasses to his health. Ed awkwardly apologizes, reminds the man about his words about black hair, and asks if it is really strange. The adventurer repeats his question. He quickly denies it. No, it is not so. I just meant that such hair is rare. Someone ironically adds that in Marlia only bad people have black hair supposedly. It is just a historical tradition. The adventurer suggests he look around here. People, dwarves, giants, and gnomes are bustling about. At Rugin's, people come from everywhere. He says nothing about appearance, but does he really think hair color can affect a person's character? And the second question, if black hair brings bad luck, are other people really happier than him? Rainia gently soothes Ed. There is no point in worrying, and the boy gladly agrees. They are brought to the right place and told that magical stones are sold here, so they should go to the counter on the second floor. The man asks the children to be careful and not to worry when they meet, and the children with doubts and hesitation agree. Rainia says that their uncle terribly scared them. Ed agrees with her. Suddenly they hear a scream, and someone asks how it happened. She scolds the boy harshly and insists that breaking the rules is only his personal problem when it comes to his work. In response, there is only outrage. The boy runs away in tears, shouting that he is very sorry. The girl noticed the heroes and sternly asked if they needed anything, but they only shouted in response. They run away, repeating sorry. Then the woman calls them back and asks them to stop, asking if they are the children who were making noise on the first floor. Suddenly she notices Mina is an elf. She apologizes for the rudeness and quietly mutters that this appearance, these features, this girl is undoubtedly purebred. Ed tries to attract attention to himself. She sternly asks what he wants, and this frightens the children again. The hero does not understand what relation she has to Mina, and at that moment, a man approaches them to explain. Elves usually highly value the purity of their lineage. The heroes ask who he is, and the man winks and replies, I sell my knowledge to the guild and work here as an appraiser. Rania recalls hearing about him in the elven land in the north there. They always preserve genealogy, and the man says their administrator is also from the north. This woman is 70 purebred. Being a person of mixed race, she was lucky to get the position of secretary, and at this moment she asks what exactly Mina wanted to sell. Ed asks if this means that his lineage comes from ancient elves. The appraiser replies that he is sure of it. From a young girl to a black-haired boy, he is interested in everyone. These words surprise the hero, and he hides his hair, while the man reassures him, no need to worry, because he does not intend to cause trouble, as he himself is a child of misfortune. He asks Ed what his name is, and Ed says his name. Then the man asks where the boy was born and where his parents are from, and the boy says that as long as he can remember, he has always lived in the slums and his parents are just like him. The appraiser suddenly interrupts him and sharply asks, "Where did this black hair come from? Do you really not know?" Ed awkwardly says he does not know, and then the man asks for permission to say something. The story about the black-haired boy, who is supposedly considered a bearer of misfortune, is not a fiction. Behind it stand real historical events. But this story is not about people with black hair always bringing trouble. Once such a person caused a war, many wanted to use him for their own purposes, and it turned into a real disaster. The story is very complicated. The administrator calls the appraiser, Mr. Hoppelm, and asks him to examine the magic stone. The man turns away and warns the boy to be careful. Even without the curse of black hair, anger can flare up in anyone. West asks if they managed to sell the stone, and Mina happily shows that they received 5 silver coins for it. Ed thoughtfully looks at the man, recalling his last words. The elf asks why he fell behind. The boy apologizes. Mr. Hoppelm returns to Mikitsia. She asks what he wants. The man asks, "Please deliver this message to the Lord." The administrator asks, "What exactly should I tell him?" Hoppelm does not hide. He found a boy with black hair in the depths of Treya. In the very center of the city of Troy, a servant addresses Count Thomas Roman Tubauer and reports that a letter has arrived for him from Mr. Hoppelm. The Count gives permission for the servant to read the message aloud. The servant reported, "A man found a boy with black hair in the depths." The master suddenly realized, the black-haired man is already in the city. A girl peeked out from behind the curtain and wondered if his hair was really as black as in the tale. Here is a map of the city of Treya, built as a protective shield against monsters from the north. It shows the castle of Treya, the new city, city walls, the depths, the Lanyardak district, and agricultural lands. Guru Mina directs the healing skill to another girl. Everything heals immediately, and Ed notices Mina has talent. The girl said that she is a healer and can cure any disease. She approached Ed and decisively said that she wants to heal even more, so she asked to receive a more serious injury. Reina shook her head. Despite all efforts today, they managed to gather very little. Ed pointed to the tracks and said that someone had already settled here. Perhaps these people learned about their expeditions and decided to repeat them. Reina suggested that they are stealing food from them. He replied, "Wildflowers belong to no one. It is better to worry that a person might not understand whether those plants are edible. They might choose poisonous ones." The woman ordered the children to follow Ed and eat mushrooms with him. The hero hoped that this would not cause him problems, and Reina noted that this is still not enough. They need to search more. Mina exclaimed that it was time to hit the road. The heroes went through the forest and came upon a dead end. They would not be able to climb up, so they would have to turn back, and at that moment, Mina noticed something. There was a small crack in the rock. This sparked the healer's curiosity, and he wanted to find out where it led. She crawled inside because there was a hope in her heart to find some treasures. The friends tried to stop her. Ed shouted that there was nothing there, and the girl herself saw nothing in the darkness. Rania went inside. Her fiery ability instantly lit up the room. Mina sincerely thanked her. The girl quietly said that the passage was quite long, and gently asked Ed to go inside. As they proceeded further, the hero felt that the most important thing was not to encounter monsters. From afar, a light flickered, and Rania realized this was the exit. Mina hoped to find something interesting, while Ed constantly worried that monsters might attack them. The heroes finally emerged from the narrow passage, and suddenly they found themselves in some kind of garden, and this surprised them greatly. Apples grew on the trees, and they could be eaten. The girls thought it was probably a wild variety. Ed suggested Mina try one, and she took a bite. The girls were delighted. They see it for the first time, their eyes full of amazement. The fruit is very sweet. Rania approached another bush and said that it could also be eaten. There were raspberries there. The children wildly enjoyed eating the berries. All this thanks to Ed. The hero believes this is a real treasure, and Rania said, "It's like paradise here." Trees grow in the rocks, completely different from those on the surface, and inside there spread a true fruit paradise. The only way inside is a narrow passage that only a child can squeeze through, so no adult has yet been to this place. This was their secret place for the 3 of them, and all this because of our unrestrained curiosity. Mina asks with interest how much Dorotin will buy them for, and Rainia replies that since Alania was destroyed, they have hardly sold any fruit, so now these fruits are probably expensive. Looking at these fruits, it seems they are already overripe. Maybe they won't be sold in time, so it's a waste of time, and the hero does not want to waste his strength in vain. And then an idea flashed in his head. They returned home, and their mother met them at the door. They were surprised that she was home. Rainia asked why she was there, and she said that Melon was busy at the hospital, so she came to help. The woman thanked Ed and Mina for coming with Rainia, because sharing mushrooms was a real support for them. The girl's mother said that today they were also lucky to find something good. Ed looked into his basket and noted that they had gathered a lot of fruit. It needed to be processed into jam before the fruit spoiled. Mina did not understand what kind of jam it was, and the boy, smiling slightly, explained, "If you cook the fruits, bacteria will not develop there. The main thing is that they do not spoil too quickly, and it is even better to add some sugar, because without it hardly anything will turn out." The woman said that honey can be safely used instead of sugar. Honey should be sold somewhere nearby. She used to collect it every year and sell it wholesale, at the market and in other cities. Rania even opened her mouth in surprise when she saw that her mother was making jam. Her mother explained that she learned this when she lived in Aldania. Ed asked his mother to help them. They were doing it for the first time, and she agreed. The boy gently thanked her and said that they were going to Mr. Dorden for honey, and the mother reminded them, "Don't forget the jar for the jam." The man agreed to sell them honey, so they happily went to gather fruits and returned home with full baskets. The jars were already being sterilized over the fire. This was the disinfection stage. Then the children cleaned the apples together. The jam smelled pleasant, and they waited impatiently. Then the woman allowed them to try it. The taste was incredible. The children said in unison that they really liked it, and that such jam would sell out quickly. Dorden said that he would buy jam from them. After the destruction of Aldania, this thing can no longer be found on the market, but many people still desire to buy it. The man wanted to buy more, but there was nothing left. Ed explained that the apples could only be picked next year, and then the man approached the checkout and gave them money, already deducting the cost of the crates and honey he bought. Minas said that he hardly felt anything. Rania suggested that it was because honey was not very expensive, and the man just smiled. In the bag lay gold coins, shiny and heavy. Ed stood confused. He did not know what to do with such an amount of money. Mel and Ronnie's mother said that with this money, one could buy a bunch of beans. Mina cannot understand what they will do at all. They simply will not eat so much food, and Rainia gives her mother a coin and whispers to take advantage of this opportunity. The woman refused and proudly said that her children earned this money themselves through their own work. They can take with them whatever they want and spend it on what they really need. When a person is lost and does not know what they want, they can be given advice. It is not necessary to accept it immediately. The main thing is for them to realize it. Living in the slums is not a joy at all. The hero hesitates. Is it worth parting with the gold coins? Rainia admitted that she always wants everything and a lot. That is her problem. But they have little money, so they need to make the best choice. Ed thinks about whether it is worth investing money right here, and Rainia asked Mina what she wants. She replied that she wants to eat something tasty. Agree. Sometimes it is useful to visit somewhere and have a snack. Is that bad? Mina noticed that since Ed started leading them to look for food, they were always full. The girl constantly wants to taste something delicious together with them. The hero and Rainia agreed with his friend. Someone asked the children, do they really want to spend money on that? Ed replied that they need to take care of safety during gatherings. It is an investment in themselves. He bought a backpack, a sword, and boots. The girls bought armor made of leather fabric, a black mage's staff, and a short, light mage's staff. Ronnie's mother nodded and said that it was even comfortable for them that way. The man smiled and added that they seemed like real experienced travelers, and the children felt awkward. The children decided to set off on an adventure. Today, they were already about to say goodbye to their relatives, when suddenly someone asked them to wait a little. It was some girl. She looked at Ed and asked if he was really the same boy with black hair. She could hardly believe it. He really came. The unfamiliar girl froze in amazement when she saw the boy with black hair here. She told that people whispered. They gathered together, overcame fear, and drove out the one everyone hated. And they also said that dark-haired people always bring trouble. She decided that he was being offended if he says so. By his frightened look, the heroes look at her with obvious surprise. She decided that the boy thought she was about to start accusing him, but she was not naive enough to believe in these tales. There are several versions about where this superstition came from. They say it arose because of bad rumors about people with black hair. This is exactly the story she heard. Nothing funnier to invent than to believe such a fiction. Ed asked why she called him. She replied that she could not help but be interested in his black hair. Then she asked, where is Doradin's shop located? This girl is from the lineage of the other Bowers, a noble family of counts ruling the northwestern part of the kingdom of Merlia, including the capital Tria. In the family are Countess Katie, Count Thomas, the elder daughter Marie Lou, and the younger daughter Alina. A few days ago at breakfast, the count said that apple jam is a rarity. He asked the butler where he got it. The butler replied that he bought it at the shop with the doors in the city, and the countess remarked that it was the same shop where she recently purchased delicious herbal tea. Marie Lou and Alina could not understand what that thing was delicate and so personal. The father suddenly realized they were tasting jam for the first time. The second daughter was born after the destruction of Eldania. The man had not seen her for over 8 years. Katie said that it was impossible not to love it. The jam was very tasty, so the girl spread it on bread and took a bite. The sisters were delighted. They began to reproach their father. How could he keep such a habit silent? Mina said she knew where it was and invited the girl to go with her. Alina admitted that she was here for the first time and introduced herself. The doctor also gave her name. Ed felt that the locals were watching them closely, especially Eli. People were indeed whispering about the appearance of the count's daughter. Rainia said that Alina had exceptionally beautiful clothes. She looked like a real princess. Mina spun around cheerfully and said that she also had new clothes. Ed smiled and added that even if it was a worn item, it still suited her very well. Eli thought that it was so sweet and nice the clothes really suited Mina. She sincerely assured that she was telling the truth, and the count's daughter confirmed this. The doctor cheerfully rushed forward. Rainia said that she was a good, honest, and nice girl. Ed agreed with this. The heroes finally reached the door shop, and Alina boldly entered without hesitation. She said she had heard that this store sold apple jam and would like to be given some. The shop owner called Ed to him. So why were the heroes with her? He said the girl had simply asked how to get to his shop. The man asked if the boy knew who it was. He could not understand why this woman was here. She turned to him. Doradin confirmed they really had jam, but unfortunately, it was all sold out. It was too popular. Eli was upset she could no longer eat it, and Mina quietly asked if she really wanted jam. If that was true, they already had it at home. Ed said there were still 2 or 3 jars left they could share. They decided to go home for the jam. Doradin recognized the count's daughter, and his wife suggested informing the castle about it. Alina sincerely thanked them for their help. She had heard that it was a rare and very expensive thing, and could hardly believe they had it, as their family was truly incredibly wealthy. But as soon as she got into the thicket, she immediately regretted what she had said. She asked what had happened here. Mina replied it was Lanirda. Eli replied that she knew about the existence of the slums, but still, seeing them, she was stunned. Someone said that one must be tougher with Lanirda, otherwise it will hit Treyas's pocket. Refugees may continue to come, but their patience is not limitless. The slums are like a parasite that destroys a healthy city. The count sighed deeply and said, this is a real problem. The local children could not help but notice Eleonora. They considered her a very beautiful girl. They began to approach her and without shame, ask for something. Ed and Minnie jumped forward to stop the children. The doctor firmly said that she was her client. They recognized their client in her and retreated, leaving her alone. Eli understood what was happening in the slums here, but still could not grasp why Mina had brought her here. She thinks this is just the road to a luxurious estate. Mina said they had already arrived. Looking at their house, the accountant's daughter realized she was mistaken. She could not believe they really lived in such a shack. Mina told her mother that they were already home. Mel noted that they had never before brought anyone from the city here. The woman greeted the girl and said that she might be surprised how dirty the slums are here compared to the city. Eli replied that it was cleaner here than she had thought. She noticed the sign hospital outside and couldn't believe it. Do they really treat people here? The woman replied that this place was definitely not one of the best. Everywhere there were sick and wounded. Shouldn't treatment be free in such an institution? Eli could hardly believe it. The medicine here is free. Melon simply replied, everyone has the right to be healthy. They entered the house, and Mina began to take out the jam. Eli could hardly believe her eyes. She really found it. But what is the expensive jam doing in the wilderness? Ed replied that they make it here themselves. Alina asked if they really did it themselves. The heroes, smiling, confirmed that it was so. Climbing onto the roof, the boy threw out, there is no such thing in the slums, so they looked for everything they needed in the forest. Danger literally hung in the air. They were fighting the goblin. Ronnie thought they could die. The count's daughter was bewilderedly amazed at their strange behavior, although they were all the same age, and Ed explained that they had come to gather herbs for tea. Mina, smiling, said that it was thanks to the jam that she met Eli. Eleanor looked at the cup and said that she does not like herbal tea, but she really likes this one, a genuine, delicate taste. She asked if she could take the jam they had worked so hard on. When she heard yes, Mina suddenly noticed soldiers approaching them. The knights of the Count addressed Lady Alina, their voices full of respect. Rainia and Ed stood bewildered, not understanding what was happening. Eli said that she had been found, stood up and resolutely added that these people were her friends. She was here voluntarily and would stay with them, even if they were sometimes rude. Mina called the girl and, almost stammering, apologized for not saying it right away. She was Eleonora's second friend, the daughter of Count Tria. Most likely she would soon become the leader in this city. The heroes were stunned. Eli said with a smile that today was a very good day and sincerely thanked the boys. She was ashamed that she had told them nothing, but she herself had seen those slums with her own eyes. Even in Laniardy, which the townspeople so condemned, there were good people like them. She definitely wanted to meet them again, and it was their light that gave them the strength to move forward confidently. The hero did not understand what she meant when she said that they would change life in the slums. Harris said that this was their share for today, and asked the children not to worry, everyone would get the same portion, regardless of age. He asked if someone could take something to Zell. The boy replied that it was not working today. Harris said that he had a fever, and they needed to help each other. The children said goodbye. The boy was returning home, and when he entered the house, joyfully told his grandmother that he had bought some beans. But his grandmother became ill. Melmedical Medical Center is the only hospital in the slums. In a world where doctors are always in short supply, such an institution could have been located in a richer district, but the elven family that owned it sincerely loved this place and did not want to leave it. Melon and Mina direct their healing skill towards Harris's grandmother. The boy anxiously asks how his grandmother feels. She replies that she fell a little while walking home, says she should not have rushed, and then thanks Dr. Melon for coming. The woman quietly explained that the bone had already partially healed, but the grandmother needed another week of rest. She was surprised and did not understand why a whole week of rest was necessary. The old woman did not understand. Why move if she still could not eat? Harris said he would resolve this issue. Ed waited outside. He looked at the family's house, and their dishesand realized that everything was completely neglected. He recalled Ellie's words about Laniardy, the worst place in the city. She asked if anything could be changed, but even if one really wanted to, how to get rid of such poverty. When Mina left the house, she said, "It's over between us." Harris followed them. The boy asked suspiciously, "What is the hero doing here? Did he really come just to show off his new things?" Ed tried to help somehow, but he only told him to be quiet. He does not want to accept his help. He told the boy, "Buy yourself something useful if you already have extra money." A woman asks Rania where the clean bread is here, and Rania answers with a smile that she represents Mina's interests because Mina could not come. The girl said that no one here is in a hurry to go anywhere. The woman added that this has been going on for some time. They have information that a gang of robbers has entered Tria. They are sent to be cunning and cruel to attack cities in the south, so all adventurers take turns keeping watch, divided into 3 shifts. The elf heard that they even grab city children and use them as bait. She assured that noble, pure-blooded elves would not succumb to their persuasion, but he advised the girl to be careful. Children often believe in made-up stories. Rania, worried, told Ed and Mina about this and asked the latter to be more careful. Mina replied that everything would be fine. The heroes pounced on her, demanding that she finally become more serious. They were not satisfied with her answer. Rania felt that Mina was too confident in herself. The hero suddenly became interested in the robbers. The boy cannot get rid of Harris's voice in his head. "You need your own money." Mina checked Harris's house and quietly said that he was not there. Ronnie cannot understand why her friend needs Harris so much. He sincerely shared his guesses with them. The girls froze in surprise when they learned that Harris could have been part of a criminal group. Ed noted that nothing is confirmed, especially now. Rania wanted to ask about the money, but Mina interrupted her and said they had to go to stop him. They need to hurry find Harris. The heroes split up. Ed went to the city, Mina rummaged through the slums, and Rania in the neighboring store. They rushed through the city all day, searching constantly. But he still couldn't find that one. He only learned that the goalkeeper saw him go into the city. He asked about the children who were with him, and Rania quietly replied that she saw them hiding, but didn't manage to follow them. It all looked suspicious, and suddenly Mina heard something. When she heard someone talking about Harris, she immediately rushed to the source of the sound. She recognized the voice. It was the child. They ran into the alley. The children whisper that the target is the estate, and the robbery will happen in the evening, so the heroes hurriedly set off to prevent it. Ed called Harris. He asked his friends to go on without him, and he decided to stay. The boy asked if he had any business with him. The main character realizes he needs money, but if he has planned something bad, it's better to stop. Harris said they misunderstood him. Ed shouted to him, "Don't be a fool. Mina heard their conversations and already knew that they were planning a robbery. Ed decided to stop him and said that you would be his opponent. He asked Rainia to run away, and he himself grabbed the boy. Harris suddenly grabbed the girls, hit Ed in the stomach, and said that he could not let her go, then threw that girl at the main character to stop him. Harris cannot understand why this hero, the boy with black hair, who brings misfortune everywhere, is bothering him. And he sharply grabbed his sword. The boy laughs because the hero is really ready to fight. The hero decisively tells him to go away. He is not going to retreat because he desperately needs money now and has no other choice. Ed sharply threw the sword and rushed into attack. He slapped Harris and sternly ordered him not to say that anymore he does not bring misfortune. The boys started arguing, and Rainia and Mina stood helplessly, not knowing how to break them up. Suddenly Harris's friends returned and said that they were called. A crowd of people was approaching the children. A man rewarded Harris and his friends. It was thanks to their information that the criminal was caught, and he gave them a bag of money. A woman said that these boys noticed a suspicious man who was calling children into dark alleys. They pretended to agree to his proposal, but quietly called the military themselves. She asked what the heroes would do now, and Mina blossomed with joy they had not made a mistake. Ed stood up and apologized to Harris. Harris explained why he asked him to leave. Did he really think that guy was going to rob someone? Ed replied that he thought so too, and Harris was outraged. The soldier quietly calmed them down. He himself would think the same upon hearing something like that, so arguing now was pointless, better to act together, but Harris was not sure it was realistic. After dividing the money, Harris announced to his friends that this was their share for today. Everyone would receive the same amount. Then he told them, tomorrow they will weed the garden beds and meet in the morning. Rania could not believe that the hero taught Harris to make tea and a bunch of other things. Could he really be trusted? He replied that it was better to develop sustainable agriculture than to gather something once. In his opinion, without working hands everything would be much more difficult. All the children adore him. He looks more like a leader than Ed. Harris noticed how the main hero was looking at him and asked why he was staring at him so intently. He said he was not going to thank him. The hero noticed that it was an honest exchange. He again replayed Alina's words about Lanyard's betrayal in his head and could not get rid of the thought of how it would all end. Mina noticed that Harris now called the main hero simply Ed, not black-haired. Their relationship had already changed. Mina sends Ed her sincere wishes and says with a lump in her voice that he should try his best. The main hero rushes forward to attack the rabbit with a horn, but he misses again because the rabbit keeps running away. The man relentlessly swings his sword and tries to hunt the rabbit. Suddenly someone hit the animal with something hot. Rainia said that everything is happening too slowly. If he continues acting like this, the sun will set before they manage anything, so she suggested moving faster. Now they were on Eastern Mountain on a guild assignment. Near the city of Treya stretches an old river road, and nearby rise Watchtower Mountain and the Infernal Mountains. Watchtower Mountain is a small elevation northeast of Treya. On its summit stands a tower where the night guards of Treya always live. The heroes climb the tower of Night's Mountain. Every step is hard for them. They are met by two men, and one of them says that this time the support team consists of little adventurers. He thanks them for their help. Beast approached and, without looking away, asked, "What are you doing here?" He replied that he was showing the place where prey was previously found. On ordinary days, he is also a knight. The man smiled and offered the children a little snack. After such a long journey, they gladly agreed. They were served roasted rabbit. Ed sincerely thanked he was taught how to skin a rabbit, and now he could do it himself. Mina got upset. Rainia asked what happened, and Mina replied that she simply does not like meat. She does not like it. It is tough and completely tasteless. The friends understood that the girl was talking about dried meat eaten at home. Ed suggested she try freshly cooked meat. She began teasing him, and he, unable to resist, simply shoved a piece of meat into her mouth. She liked it. The meat melted in her mouth, tender, juicy, and tasty. She eagerly started eating it. Rainier asked Mr. Beast what was built next to the little house. The knight companions finally decided. It was time to tell everything and explain what was what. Beyond these mountains stretches the road to Aldania, that is where Rainia's parents come from. The children looked into the mountains and noticed smoke rising in the distance. Ed immediately understood it was a signal fire. Along the road, a little house was visible, almost like theirs. Smoke was also slowly rising from its chimney. White smoke meant there were no monsters here. The Count receives these signals. And this has been going on for several days of their horseback journey. Mina said with admiration that it was cool, while Ed and Ronnie were already looking at something else. And from another mountain, smoke of a completely different color was rising. A few days later, near the walls of the city of Treya, the residents open the gates as the caravan returns to Aldania. People meet their relatives, hug them tightly, and say how much they missed each other. Rainia also rushed to meet her father. She ran up to them and hugged them tightly. Dad said she had grown up and looked wonderful. It was clear that it was smoke, and its color meant that the caravan had returned. Nina noticed that Rainia looked happy. In the evening, people gathered around the table and drank. The locals sincerely thanked for the help in restoring Aldania, and Mina treated everyone, insisted on eating more, and herself prepared rabbit for them. Rainia treated the family and proudly said that she helped get the spices, to which the father smiled and said that now his daughter would always be able to get married. He turned to Ed and with a tremor in his voice, asked if he would marry Rainia. She shouted at her father to stop. Mina suddenly blushed and grabbed the hero by the shirt. He just froze, not understanding why she did it. Two children approached Ronnie's father and asked, "What kind of place is Aldania?" Rainia said that she was also curious to find out, is it true that this is a city where no one wants to live? Mina supported the children. Everyone gathered around the table, and the man realized that everyone was waiting for him to tell something. The city stood by a large lake in the very heart of the mountains, incredibly picturesque, until suddenly it was attacked by a horde of monsters. The city was completely evacuated. Demonic fog poisoned the land, trees, and soil began to rot. People who fled the city settled here and founded Loanard, but that man never left his city. Their team had already noticed the polluted soil, and calling upon cleansing magic, tore the trapped creatures from the nightmare. At first, it was just a camp where survival seemed almost impossible. Over time, its territory gradually expanded. On the eastern coast, for example, almost everything has already been restored. The city, where living was impossible, seemed to have returned to the past. People are glowing with joy. Soon they will return to Aldania. Finally, they will be able to return home. The man begs them to calm down. After all, it is only about a very small part. The girl says that when the reconstruction continues, that is how it will be. The old woman says she will be able to show her native city to her grandchildren. Harris noted that then the grandmother will have to live very long to see this. Mina noticed that everyone is shining with happiness. Guido wiped his tears and said he was very happy for them. The girl noticed that real tears appeared in his eyes. The elf replied that these were tears of joy. Edu felt as if he was seeing the residents of Lanirda, so joyful for the first time. Although all this sounds interesting, the Doriden are not sure if they should rejoice because even if you call it restoration, you will have to spend money just to get out of the red. Mina handed over a coin and said that they have money, but Ed explained that it is not enough. Rainia's father says sadly that the economic situation of the linear company is too complicated to continue financing such a long reconstruction project. Aldenia has not yet been restored, Lanirda will not hold, and they will all perish together. Guido asks if there is anyone who can help them, and Doriden replies that no one will help now, so they must manage on their own. The man quietly advised Guido to turn to the original source. He looked away, and with bitterness in his voice, said that he can no longer help them. He has no power. The seller thinks he has no choice left. Suddenly, someone shouted and asked everyone not to panic. It was Ed. He said that everyone here was already grown up, so why are they still so sad? He shouts at the top of his voice that all hope is placed on them. They are the last chance. He suggested thinking about how to turn hope into real strength. Rainia said that if money is needed, everyone can work hard, and Mina picked up on her and added that she would also work a lot and also prepare tea and jam. Rainia's father was quite surprised she had prepared jam. The heroes led the adults to where they gathered apples. The man did not suspect that wild apple trees grew here, and Mina said that she found this place when she was looking for treasures. Rainia nostalgically tells that Aldenia was once a big city where fruits were grown, and her father had his own fruit farm. If he saw this, he would probably start dreaming about reviving the plantation business, and maybe the orchards will save the economy of Leonarda. The man dismissed these thoughts. They did not have their own land. Orchards can only be grown where the conditions are right, and this place was not suitable for them. Suddenly an idea occurred to the hero. Everyone, a little surprised, followed him. He sighs and says that there is no other way because all the land belongs to the count, so they will have to talk to the owner himself. Elena exclaimed, "We will build a school." Maina repeated her words. Then she turned to her friends and with curious eyes asked, "What is school?" Rainia told her directly, "Don't pretend to know if you really don't know." Guido apologized for his daughter. Every weekday morning at the La Folle church, the priest gathers the children of the believers and teaches them to read, count, and master the basics and rules of behavior. Eli said she came to talk to the Lord and sincerely apologized to the heroes for making them wait. She barked at them for sneaking into the castle. If others had done that, they would already be considered criminals. When it comes to transferring land for orchards, the parties agree it can be done, but there are certain conditions. First of all, the entire harvest must be sold in Tria, and the business will live and develop even after the restoration of Eldania. Every year they also make jam and sell it to her. Mina noticed that Eli insanely loves jam. The hero said that this was the decisive factor. The girl resolutely voices the last main condition her father stated. It is specifically about building a school in Lanyardi. He said that agriculture alone is not enough to raise the standard of living. Alina agreed with her father. Education makes the city better. History has proven this. But if the girl wants to use state money to build a school and a district for the underprivileged, she may face the anger of the people. Why should they give their money to help other people's poor? Growing your own garden is a real opportunity. If they are given this chance, the slums will no longer be talked about as a place of poverty. It is necessary to see how ready they are for this. The school will be built if certain conditions are met, and the man is currently pondering this. Ed said that he also wants the school to be built. Most children from poverty cannot read or write at all, and those who can do so very poorly. For example, Mina, when she heard her name, she cheerfully declared that she can count 1, 2, 3 many. The hero adds, it is also necessary to defend against robbers. Recently, there were disturbances here caused by a gang of thieves, and Jordan stops the boy, saying that he is not against building the school. He is troubled by the question of personnel, who can be trusted to teach. Guido raised his hand and decisively said that he would be that person. Mina declared that he is not a very good father. The man realized that his daughter trusts him little. In fact, he once dreamed of becoming a scientist, and that dream seemed better than swinging a sword. He can become a teacher, but first it is necessary to equip the classrooms inside and outside. To attract the Lord's attention to these children, a difficult task. Guido will be recruiting children. The leaders are Ed, Mina, and Rania. The man was bursting with surprise. Only 3 people came to the lesson. We are not saying that even the Lord did not recognize their school as real. They just needed to gather more people, and the children rushed to do this. They suddenly shouted, the school is already open, and the children will study. Some already knew what school was, others stubbornly did not want to study, and some only thought about money. Mina summed up bitterly, they cannot attract other children. Rania stands confused and does not know what to do. Suddenly someone sharply turned to the heroes. Turned out to be Harris. He said he was lying in Melon Hospital. They were hard to look at. He shouted, asking the children if they were satisfied with such earnings. He explained to them that studying is normal because with knowledge and intelligence you can earn well, and they immediately came up with, they can collect tea. They need to study because otherwise some smart guy like Ed will take everything. Harris is now going to school and asked what the children will be doing. They thought for a moment and then one of them said, if Harris goes I will also join, and the second supported him. Ed sincerely thanked his friend for the help. He replied that he did it not for him, but for Leonard. Guido greeted everyone, and together with the students, they decided to start with the alphabet to figure out what was written in the store. He asked the children to read the letters on the board. They did so well that the man cried. Mina saw this and thought that her father did not like working there, but he denied everything. Suddenly he saw a boy holding his stomach and immediately asked him what happened. He replied that he was hungry, and the stomachs of most children also began to growl from hunger. The man was confused. He didn't know what to do. Suddenly Doran appeared with his wife. They were carrying something in their hands. The children immediately asked what it was. He answered simply, it's a school lunch. Ed asked the man why he was doing this. He replied that he just decided to help him and his family. They are being treated now, but who knows, maybe in the future they will return as clients. While they are studying, they will be fed. The boy was sitting near the house and his stomach was loudly growling. Rania approached, extended her hand, and invited him to go with her. She said that if he went to school, he could eat. Leonard began to act. Mathematics, biology, magic, physical education, agricultural work, the children simply adore these subjects, and the number of students is constantly growing. The bell rang. Guido announced the start of classes. Eli looked at this and said that there was a bell hanging on the roof. The place increasingly resembled a school, and Ed added that the children made it themselves to make it easier to remind them about classes. The idea pleased Alina so much, and then Al seemed to hear something. If not, it's better to check it out yourself. It would be wonderful if they organized a real school excursion, and imagine, that's exactly what happened. A group of children arrived at a certain place. They arrived at Lanyard's farm, all this thanks to their efforts. Guido explains to them, their relatives and neighbors work here, so he asks them to come and greet. Rania greeted her father, and he warmly greeted her and everyone around in response. Looking around, Ed exclaimed with admiration that it was incredible so many trees had grown in such a short time, and the man explained that former Elden mages who worked on the farms helped them. Thanks to them, sales have already started, and they offered the children to try the fruits of diligent labor. They brought them from seedlings that survived in Aldania. The fruits should be tasty. The children bit and they liked it very much. It was very sweet and delicious. On the way home, Ed ate an apple and happily told that everything was good for him both at school and on the farm. Suddenly Mel runs out to him and, worried, says that something strange has happened. There was a heavy pile of coins on the table, money for unpaid medical services. When the farm started to bring income, everyone gave it part of their earnings, so what should be done with this amount now? She held her breath and began to think about how to return them. Mina does not understand why her mother considers this a problem. Money is a sign of gratitude that silently says thank you. If she were given them as a gift, she would shine with happiness. They were pleased by their mother's work. The parents gently stroked their daughter's head and said that this money is a thank you from all the residents of Lanyard. Guido advised to think carefully about how to spend the money so that it benefits everyone. Ed decided to share his idea. It concerns everyone who comes to their hospital, and he sincerely believes that this plan will please everyone.